I'm making this video because someone noticed that I'm a lefty and they're asking me if there's any tips for lefties. And one of the things I will tell you is if you ever driven a car and driven manual, some people might ask you, oh, you're a lefty. It must have been so much harder. Well, not really, because if you learn how to do it from the very beginning in that way, it's no different from you. So my recommendation, one, is don't try to pick righty. If you're best at dexterity, you can learn it. I'm not saying not to, but I would suggest not trying to do it. So again, I'm just going to use bottom of key right here. Someone that is going to be right picking bottom of key, they can go in here and it'll tell them kind of to put the meat in here and it gives them that little finger. Now they can do bottom of key, right? But again, for a lefty, why? Why do this? It's not you. So again, here's a lefty. You tend to use your thumb a lot. You're going to be learning how to use your thumb in the different tensions. So this is the bottom of the key. The advantage of the bottom of the key, so there's downsides, right? So I'm not going to use this lock because I can't show you the key pins. Key pins are the bottom, obviously, and just in case, I'm not going to assume you know. So you have, your key pins that touch it, or the bottom pins here, which you can actually see right in there, the bottom pins. And then you have your top pins up here, right, which is your driver pins. So one of the things I want to go over, because you can really see it here, so I'm going to do top of key on this. Try to learn top of key early because it's a very, very helpful tool. So the reason I'm using this is pretend in here you were going to do this. This is kind of bottom key. This has a wonderful keyway for me to show you. I can actually fit my turning tool right here. So pretend if I was picking, here, I can actually just do this, and that's me picking it. I'm going to pick it like this just so you can see. Look how well you can see that bottom pin. So what I'm going to explain to you in this, hopefully you can see it, is one of the advantages of picking upside down is that if you overset a pin, so I'm going to purpose overset. If I overset it, it's way down there. Now, being a lefty, you can't tell that it's overset. Maybe that's really, really deep in there. That would be ridiculously deep in there. But a righty, if they were facing this direction, so I'm going to flip my hand over, the key pin doesn't fall back down. So I'm going to set this purposely. Watch. So I'm going to set this. So here's me setting it. Ready? So this one's a spool, so it's going to have a counter rotation. I'm going to set it. And here's the advantage of this. Like if you're a righty, this thing drops down. Look at that wiggle. So it goes all the way up. And then how do you know the pin's set here? Let me get a better angle. Sorry about that. I'm kind of holding this upside down. Look at the camera. But you see how that goes up? Gravity's going to put it back down. So I'm going to let it fall back down. If you look, now it's falling down. There we go. That's a better view. You right there didn't overset that. But because the key pin is falling back down. As a lefty, you won't be able to tell that. But you get used to it and you usually can tell. So when I'm a lefty, like I said, watch. I'm going to, when you're feeling for things, top of key really helps because there's nothing above it. So what's really helpful with that for a lefty is that you could do the jiggle test just like anyone. So watch, I'll show you. Ready? So right here, this one's firm. I purposely picked this lock because it's open and because the first pin will bind and then you can see it. So I'm going to do a little counter rotation and now it's set. So now I can actually do the jiggle test. Let's see if I can get the light a little bit better in here. So I can actually do the jiggle test. You can see in there, good. On this right here, if you look, it is firm, but there's still a little bit of wiggle because if I overset it, or if it wasn't set at all, it would still be binding. There'd be no wiggle. You see that tiny, tiny bit of wiggle? I hope you can see it. A tiny bit of wiggle. So as I'm doing, if I was checking this and I already got done with that, you literally see this, and this is how much see how it's moving? So if this wasn't moving, so I'm going to unset it. If it wasn't moving, look, I'm pushing on it, and there's no wiggle. But then once I set it, there it is. Now, how do I know if I overset it? Well, I can actually feel that little wiggle because I'm used to it. I can actually, you can see my pick going up and down. I can jiggle it and feel it. But a righty, it would just fall down. Look how nice that is for them. Just falls down. It's all free willy-nilly, and that's how you know. See, I'm pulling it back down. But like that, it's got to be, the top pin's got to be way up above the shear line because obviously this one's falling down. So, I guess it doesn't have to be. That could be some other stuff going on there, but let's just assume it is, okay? Because obviously when you get into different specialty pins, maybe it doesn't. I'm trying to think of a gin pin would lock above the shear. Nope. There would be counter milling. So if you had a gin, there could be a little bit of rotation, but it wouldn't be, it could fall back down. It could not be set yet. So like an example of like if you had a gin, I don't think you would have the same thing. But that's a later discussion. If you're just beginning in it, my biggest thing is, what I can say from this for the tips is don't try to do anything you're not. So if you're a lefty, pick lefty, okay? So just, like I said, upside down, you can see, falls down. I know this is set. I can do a little jiggle just by pushing on it. And the only advantage that a righty has, if they were a righty was doing this, is a righty now would look at it like this and be like, oh, look, I must have it set because look, it goes way up in the air. Oh no, I actually unset, so let's set it. So it goes up in the air, so it's probably set. And then they bring it all the way to the top and just kind of push it a little bit to do the jiggle test. And look up jiggle test if you don't know what I'm talking about, because that's kind of important. You're going to learn too. But I just want to let you know, don't do anything you're not. So if you're a lefty, practice picking lefty. It's very helpful. And again, if you ever want to mess and practice a jiggle test, try to find a lock that binds as the number one pin, and you can actually set it. And then, like I said, you could actually feel for it and go, okay, that's what that feels like. It has a little bit of movement. You can see my fingers going up and down, that little bit of movement for that jiggle test. All right, and this is, like I said, so if I was going to the next one, there we go, and I can jiggle that. Next one is solid as can be. It doesn't move. Look, I'm moving it. I'll move the whole lot, but it doesn't move it. And then there's actually counter rotation on this. I'm going to let up on my thumb a little bit, and it's picked. And that you can hear it grinding on there. So you'll get better. Anyway, that's my tips, is learn top of key pretty quick. And it was kind of lengthy. You probably didn't need that much discussion. But don't be something you're not. And I was just showing you that you absolutely can still do the jiggle test. Don't think you can't be a lefty.